What's going on, Summoners? Welcome back to another weekly news recap. My name is Kangas, and today I'll be going over all the cool stuff that's been happening since the start of the season. We got a bunch of info in the 2021 trailer to go through, along with some really cool news regarding Riot's first ever NALCS lock-in tournament. So let's start off by talking about some of the confirmed skins that are coming to the Rift over the course of the year. Riot 2021 livestream gave us a bunch of teasers, but now we have some of the skins on the PvE for testing. The two newest skin lines out on the PvE are the Shanghai Scrolls and Ruin skin lines. Jhin, Neeko, Nautilus, and Cho'Gath are getting the Scroll skins, while Draven, Karma, and Shyvana have a spooky Shadow Island skin. We also have access to Viego's Lunar Beast skin, which is part of a skin line that'll be released later on in the year. So not only are these skins awesome to look at, but they're actually pretty unique and break some of the traditional themes of past skins. The Shanghai Scroll skins are related to older Chinese fables and folklore, taking tales of ancient monsters and matching them with the League of Legends universe. It's cool to see Riot embracing other aspects of culture other than just holidays, and I really hope that we see more of these kinds of skin lines in the future. Neeko skin in particular got some major updates to her visuals, so keep an eye out for that if you're a Neeko main. I know there's a couple of you out there. Before we start talking about the Ruined skin line and Ruination event, our question of the day is, what region do you want to see as the focus of League's next major event? Personally, I really want to learn more about Shurima and the Void. That story and the dynamic is just super cool to me, but let us know what you think about in the comments below. Okay, so going back to the Ruined skin line, these skins look great. But on top of looking good, Riot's taking a new approach to expanding the lore and world of Runeterra as well. In their 2021 livestream, they mentioned that they want to explore new themes and events that actually have an impact on the champions, and a possessed trio of champions is a great place to start. The Ruination is coming to Runeterra, and it's confirmed that these skins are canon to the lore, which means Karma, Draven, and Shyvana will be possessed by Viego at some point during the year. I'm really glad that we're finally moving forward with the story of Runeterra, and any more details about the Shadow Islands is always a great place to start. So let's take a second to really dive into the Ruination cinematic, since there's a lot of hints about the future of the League of Legends world. There's a short story that came out around the same time as the cinematic, and it really highlights what actually happened between Lucian, Senna, and Thresh. We learned that Senna's soul connected with the Ruined King's wife long before everything went down with Thresh, which means that this cataclysmic event was bound to happen some way or another. Viego's motivation is to get back his wife, even if she's pretty much trying to run as far away as possible. Talk about clingy. So we know that Viego is on the hunt, and he won't stop until he gets his love back. There's a lot of negative emotion pent up in the Shadow Isles, from Thresh's madness to Viego's obsession. And this guy is a lot stronger than we think. When a champion is ruined, it means that they are completely under Viego's control, which also means that Karma, Draven, and Shyvana will eventually lose themselves sometime this year. This long-term event reminds me of when Gangplank actually died a couple of years ago, and Riot put on a crazy show for the players at the time. We had a new game mode, an unpickable GP, a new announcer, and lore updates for Bilgewater. The Ruination event will probably go above and beyond any event done before, but we'll still have to wait and see for final confirmation. With everything revolving around this massive change in the dynamic of Runeterra, our next three champions are expected to be tied in as well. Riot said that they're planning to follow the same plan in 2021 for how they handled champions in 2020, which means that we can expect about 6 champions with at least 1 champion in each role. So let's go over what we know so far. The first champion after Viego is supposed to be an AP top laner. We need more of them, with a focus on being a fighter that utilizes thread and sewing. From a lore standpoint, people are speculating that the champion might actually be the Ruined King's wife, whose name is Isolde? I don't know how to say that one. She's coming back during Viego's return, but we have no idea who she'll side with. We'll need to wait for the event to unfold before we can really understand what's going on between the two supposed lovers. But anyway, from a gameplay perspective, we really are lacking in AP fighters in the top lane. We really only have Mordekaiser, with Rumble and Lilia being sort of melee champions, but with more options for AP in the top side of the map, it'll open up much different picks in the jungle and the mid lane. You won't have to worry about getting outscaled if your mid laner picks Talon, because you don't have an AP threat on your team. Now, the next champion planned is going to be a female Yordle with a gloomy view of the world. She's an artillery mage, so she'll most likely be designed for the mid lane in mind. Apparently though, She hates when people move around too much and make a lot of noise, so she might have some unique mechanics that come along with that to punish players for missing too many skill shots or something crazy like that. If you pay attention to the words and art used, it really seems like this Yordle might actually be Yumi's owner. We got a picture of the Shadow Isles through a portal that looks really close to the forest that was used in the Yumi trailer way back when she came out, so maybe we'll get some extra details here and there. And the last champion to be teased is supposed to be a Sentinel of Light, much like Lucian and Senna. They'll be an AD carry, but they're going to be a non-traditional AD carry, which means that they won't necessarily be designed for the bot lane role. Senna can be played as a support, so I feel like we might see another AD carry jungler, kinda like when Kindred came out. We got a glimpse of this Sentinel's room, and it seems like they were locked away when Poppy and Vayne found a hidden rune in the ground towards the end of the cinematic. People are speculating that this might be Lucian and Senna's teacher, since they have mentioned a mentor before. The Sentinels of Light are clearly important in the lore of League, but there's a lot of history, so we'll need to unpack everything once this Ruination event really starts to unfold. And if you want to stay up to date on all the newest skins, lore, champions, balance updates, tips and tricks, and my shiny dome, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always making sure that you're getting the most important information first. Alright, now that we've covered all the champion teasers, let's talk about the upcoming visual updates. One that I've been looking forward to for a while, Dr. Mundo is confirmed to be updating this spring, and Riot's really captioned his silly but scary vibe. Kinda like how it's funny that Mundo can't speak in complete sentences right until he's power farmed his jungle and 1v5 in your team. With this in mind, we know that the plan is to keep some form of his cleaver and ultimate, but his W and E are definitely subject to change, and honestly those are the most boring parts of his kit. This is really good news for Mundo players, and I don't think anyone was particularly attached to how boring these two skills were. He'll obviously look better, and I have high hopes for a successful rework on the caliber of the Scion and Warwick ones. In order to decide the next major visual and gameplay update, the community can actually vote on one of 5 different champions that'll be updated next. The choices are as follows: Shyvana, Nocturne, Udyr, Skarner, and Quinn. You can vote on the League client until the 19th, so don't forget to cast your vote. Now let's go through and talk about these updates. Hopefully we can make figuring out who to vote for a little easier. So let's start off with Shyvana. Her kit isn't as outdated as some of the champions on this list, and yes, I'm looking at you, Udyr. Even so, the disconnect between her design and the actual abilities is pretty huge. Riot said that their goal would be to really deliver on the warrior who transforms into a dragon aspect of Shyvana. Meanwhile, with Nocturne, it's also about delivering on the champion's fantasy. Nocturne is one of the coolest characters visually, and he's very popular among newer players. Honestly, this is who I voted for, and it's mostly because of how awesome the Fiddlesticks update was, and I really hope they can capture that same element. Riot's really upped their game with making mature, scary champions, and Nocturne has a lot of potential for a really cool kit and aesthetics. Just let him keep that ultimate. Now moving on to Udyr, this guy probably needs an update the most. He looks horrible, and even Spirit Guard Udyr is pretty mad by 2021 standards. According to the blog post, Udyr has one of the most interesting kits in the game, as his form swapping mechanic is iconic, and he's the only champ whose entire kit revolves around modifying his basic melee attacks, both of which we would want to preserve. There's a shocking amount of Udyr mains out there, and we know what usually happens when a dedicated player base gets their champion reworked. Hopefully both Udyr mains and everyone else can see eye to eye if he ends up winning on the poll. And next up on the list, Skarner. It's kind of sad to see how little this guy actually gets picked, and Riot knows that no one plays Skarner for a reason. And they said that he'd pretty much be reworked from the ground up. The only thing that would stay is of course his ability to kidnap enemies. This open-ended update has a lot of potential, so it might be cool to see how far Riot actually decides to go with changing Skarner. And the last champion that you can vote for is Quinn. She's another champ that got a small rework in the past, but her kit still feels just like Quinn. There's hardly any emphasis on Valor right now, and she's pretty much just throwing skills that look like a bird. This update would focus on making it feel like you're actually teaming up with Valor, and if Nocturne wasn't on the list, this would definitely be my next highest vote. I'm hoping some kind of mechanic where you can have Valor go around and give you vision, but who knows. After you've answered the VGU poll, don't forget about the next SKINLINE poll, which is also located in the client. You can choose between one of 3 skin lines to vote for: Monster Tamers, Crime City Nightmare, and Debonair 2.0. Monster Tamers is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Champions are using powerful creatures that they found across Runeterra to battle against other tamers. Sounds a little familiar, but hey, the monsters are pretty cute, and we all love Pokemon, right? Crime City Nightmare is meanwhile focused on Valorant City, a place where crime runs rampant. And if you thought that wasn't enough, Riot also mentioned a mysterious figure and even Cthulhu involved in the skin line. I have no idea what they're planning for the end goal, but already these skins sound a little more unique than Monster Tamers, but still, vote Monster Tamers. The last skin line you can vote on is Debonair 2.0, where superpowered people split into two rival clubs to fight for power in the area. The teaser art for Malzahar and Leona looks really slick, and it makes the current Debonair skins look incredibly outdated. I've always wanted a clean, realistic line that puts champions in a different perspective, so Debonair also would get my vote. Man, this is hard. Good choices. Now that we've covered everything new coming to the game this year, let's talk about Pro Play. The NALCS Lock-In Tournament will begin on the 15th at 6 p.m. with 100 Thieves facing off against TSM. This tournament is a chance for teams to show their stuff and compete without needing to worry too much about their actual LCS rankings. We'll get to watch a bunch of best of ones throughout the weekend, so make sure that you tune in. And because this tournament is kicking off the season earlier than usual, some players actually haven't been able to get their visas totally approved. Players like CLG Broxa and Finn won't even be able to attend this tournament, and maybe the first few weeks of the season. It really sucks that we won't get to see all of our teams at their full potential, but that is to be expected with how much COVID is affecting travel these days. Hopefully Broxa will have a better redemption story than last year. But if you aren't as interested in the Lock-In Tournament group stage, the bracket stage starts next weekend. And that'll wrap up all the news from the last week. Make sure to vote in all the polls on the client and let us know if you find out anything new about the Ruination event. There's probably a bunch of Easter eggs and hints in the cinematic that we weren't able to find on our first couple watch throughs, so keep an eye out for us. Also, if you're looking for a place to talk about anything League related, whether it's LCS, whether it's just tips and tricks, make sure to join our community Discord in the link in the description down below. You can find me there, you can find everybody on the channel there. And also don't forget to answer our question of the day. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, best of luck on the Rift. Stay hydrated and wash those hands.